This is Federica from DocCity, and I'd like to welcome you all to this webinar of Avans University of Applied Science. And I just remind you to write all of your questions into the Q&A section. We will be answering them later on. And I'd like to leave the floor to Nori. Thank you so much and have a great webinar, everyone.
Thank you, Federica, for the introduction, and welcome everybody to this webinar of Avans University of Applied Sciences. I'm happy to see that we have so many attendees from different parts and different countries around the world. As Federica mentioned, my name is Noortje de Koort. I am working as an international marketing advisor for Avans University, and I'm going to walk you through our international degree programs tonight. So for tonight, I will be speaking a little bit more about the university and what to take into account if you want to study in the Netherlands. And later on, we have a lovely student panel available that is going to share their experience with the study programs that they are currently attending and how they came about their decision making, what they like, what they don't like, what struggles they encounter. So it's going to be a very interesting and hopefully informative webinar for you guys. Of course, as mentioned, there will be plenty of time for any questions that you might still have after my talk and the experiences of the students. So here you see some, I think you could say, characteristics of the Netherlands, or things that come to mind when you ask people about what do you think of when we speak about the Netherlands. But I think an important one is a top class education, independent of whichever university you're going to choose. In the Netherlands, you will always receive a quality education at an affordable price. The Netherlands is known for being liberal and open-minded and also broad cultural diversity you will come across in society, but also in universities. 1 in 10 students is an international student in the Netherlands because we have a very broad offering in English taught degree programs, both in the bachelor programs and in the master programs. Coming to the topic of being fluent in English, I think if you come across any Dutch person under the age of 50 years old, they will probably be more than fine of answering to you in English if you have a question, or if you just go by for your daily groceries, you will be very likely to get around without being able to speak a word of Dutch. So don't worry about not being able to speak Dutch if you're still thinking about studying in the Netherlands. Without getting too technical, I think it might be helpful to briefly elaborate a little bit on the Dutch educational system, because it might be somewhat or even completely different from what you're used to back home. But of course, there's a secondary school in the Netherlands as well. And after secondary school, you have 3 options. You can either go for a University of Applied Sciences, a research university, or a university college. And these 3 types of universities, they do all offer bachelor programs or master programs or both. But they have a different way of educating and a different focus. So Avans is a University of Applied Sciences, meaning that we focus a lot on project-based working and problem-solved teaching. So we really prepare you for a certain profession, and we really work on not only your knowledge for a certain professional field, but also the skills that you require to be successful. The research university, as the name already tells a little bit, has a stronger focus on scientific research. So it means that you do try and work on expanding and creating new knowledge. This is for the students that really are loving to dive in deep and love a theoretical approach. A university college is more similar to the American system, where you can focus on science, social science, or humanities, and then you choose your major in one field and a few supporting courses in other fields. After completing an undergraduate program in any of these types of universities in the Netherlands, you can always continue with a master's program. In some cases, if you transfer from a University of Applied Sciences to a master program, you might need a pre-master. The reason for this is that most of the master programs in the Netherlands are being taught in a research university, so you would need to brush up on your research skills, but it really depends from case to case if it's required, yes or no. So talking about a University of Applied Sciences, when are you actually a good fit or good student for University of Applied Sciences. Well, it's especially an enjoyable experience for students who are creative and they prefer action, working on skills rather than only focusing on theory or knowledge. You need to be very hands-on, and you really need to love learning by doing, because right from the beginning, you will be confronted with cases where you need to apply theories or business models that you learn in class to come up with solutions. So it's not just sitting and learning from the book and then reproduce it at an exam. It's really for you to experience what you can do with the things you're studying. So if you're an international explorer and you have high ambitions, then it's definitely a good fit for you if you want to gain some practical experience and real life experience already while studying. Every program at a University of Applied Sciences has incorporated work placements and graduation assignments where you can really work on these real life experience, but I will come to elaborate a little bit more on that later on. So we are based in the Netherlands, and in particularly in the south of the Netherlands, and the region is called Noord-Brabant. We have 4 city campuses, but the 2 campuses, Breda and 's-Hertogenbosch, are the international campuses, meaning here we teach international degree programs either on the bachelor level or on the master level. Most students, no, all students joining me here tonight, they're studying in Breda, but we also have international students enrolled in our master programs or in our international business degree in 's-Hertogenbosch as well. To give you an example, if you're not that familiar with the Netherlands, these 2 cities are a little under an hour train ride away from bigger cities such as Amsterdam. It's the capital of the Netherlands. The university in facts and figures, as I said, we have 4 city campuses, and in every city we have multiple locations. But if you study in one particular program or faculty, then you will have one building where most of your classes will take place. You don't have to travel that much around town from one campus building to the other. If it happens, it's going to be within walking distance. We are a big university. We have in total 31,000 students, among which are a little under 1,000 international students, which is a rather small group, but therefore they're very close-knit, and they easily find each other across the different programs. The international students together represent 80 different student nationalities. You also see that we have 250 international partners in 50 different countries, and this is especially meant for students that are planning on doing exchange semester, meaning that you leave the university for 6 months to go study abroad and widen your scope in your field of expertise. So when you try to figure out if a university abroad is a good university, I can imagine you want to rely on rankings to figure out if they perform well. However, I must admit that rankings are not always the best way to figure out if the quality of the education is good, because especially with world rankings, the focus is on the academic research and the academic performance. As I mentioned, in applied sciences, you don't necessarily focus on research, and therefore you don't find the applied sciences universities in the world rankings. But we do have our own national relevant rankings, and Avans has been ranked the best large university of applied sciences of the Netherlands for 6 years in a row now. And these rankings actually do focus on the quality of the education, looking into how innovative the course design is, how competent the teaching staff is, but also how do our current students experience their study programs at the university, together with an evaluation of the students that have graduated from our university, and last but certainly not least, also the satisfaction of people hiring students that have graduated from our programs. Since we are preparing you for the professional field, for us it's very important that companies are satisfied with the skills and the knowledge that our graduates have when they enter the workforce. So this is why we also work closely together with employers. So why should you choose Avans? Well, 3 important reasons are our international focus, our practice-based education, and our personal approach. What to expect when we're talking about an international focus? Well, there's going to be an international community of students and lecturers. Students and lecturers coming from all around the world. Of course, you will also come across a lot of Dutch students and teachers, but it's going to be a very nice international mix. You will gain some international work or experience by means of projects related to international organizations, by going on international study trips, and we do address attention for intercultural communication and management in every program, meaning that we try to prepare you to work successfully together with different people from different countries and different cultural backgrounds. Practice-based education, I mentioned it already a few times. It means that we really prepare you for a certain profession by having you engage in work placements and graduation internships. In every study program, there's 2 semesters, so up to 1 year in total of your 4-year bachelor program dedicated to getting practical experience before graduation. So these 2 semesters, you spend them outside university. You don't have any classes, you don't have any exams. You will just be focusing on working in a company or an organization in your field of study, and preparing yourself for the real experience by trying out what it is that you're good at, figuring out what it is that you like, and starting to build your network already in your field that you will be working in upon graduation. You see also an example here of one of our international business students that did a work placement at Rome for marketing communications and her graduation at L'Oreal in public relations. Our personal approach, we are a big university, that's definitely true, but we have a decentralized organization, meaning that all study programs are divided over 21 schools or faculties. So within these schools and in these faculties, you have a close community with students and lecturers that do really pay attention to your academic performance, but also your personal development. So all students get assigned a personal mentor, and he or she is there to support you when you're struggling maybe with your study load or your planning, but also if you have some personal issues with which you might need some support, they are there to help you out as well. We do really strive to have a personal contact with all the students. The lecturers are easily approachable. With most of them, you will probably be on a first name basis. They have like an open door policy, so you can easily meet with them for a meeting or walk into their offices if they are available. So it's a very informal way of working together. So these are some images of our Avans campus in Breda. There's different spots for students to either hang out for a coffee and catch up, but also, of course, to study or prepare for your classes, either individually or together with your fellow students. There's spaces where you can work together, or more silently study for your exams. There's also cafes or research laboratories, so you have all facilities at hand for you to make sure that you can do well in your study program. There's 5 international bachelor degree programs that we offer through English. You see them here: environmental science, industrial engineering, finance and control, and 2 international business programs. I will come to speak about the highlights of every program in a little bit, but for the international business programs already, it's good to know that they have the same name, and yes, they are taught at different campuses, but they also do have a very different focus. So for environmental science, for sustainable energy and technology, you will feel or you'll find that this program has its roots in natural and technological science, such as chemistry, biology, ecology, but you don't study these topics in the traditional way, like you might be used to in high school, but you learn how to apply these topics to environmental issues. So you can think about environmental pollution, or how to deal with sustainable energy resources, how to deal with ecosystems or bio-based waste management, all kinds of innovative topics that are related to actually keeping the planet safe for future generations. So some topics that you will come across will also be related to ecology, biodiversity, but also more on a policy level, environmental policy making and environmental law. The career prospects of this program are very good because this program is still not only in the Netherlands but also worldwide rather unique. And there's a very high demand for environmental engineers. So you see different ways of different possible career paths. But I think generally speaking, we see a lot of students either moving into the direction of pursuing a master's and doing research in this field, but also students that are more looking into making an impact on national or governmental level by working as a policymaker, or students that are really keen on preserving the planet and working for bigger NGOs like Greenpeace or working coral reef or forest restoration. So it offers you a lot of different options. It's a very broad foundation, but throughout the 4-year program, you will have different decisive moments within the program that will define the next steps in your career path. One of these things will possibly be the graduation internship and the work placement that you do, because these are the first steps in this field where you actually start connecting with the possibilities that there are and the network that is available. So for industrial engineering and management, as the name already says, it's a very interesting combination between engineering on the one hand and management on the other hand. So it means that you need to have the technological understanding of complex engineering processes, for instance, in aviation or on IT infrastructures or drilling platforms. But the program has a specialization in maintenance. This doesn't mean that you are going to be the one carrying out the maintenance, but you need to be able to understand what maintenance needs to be carried out and when and how, because you will be the one managing the people on the work floor carrying out these processes. And on the other hand, you will need to be able to plan ahead and draw up cost projections to also convince your own higher level management that certain decisions or investments related to maintenance management need to be made. Program topics that you will find in this program, you can see such as hydraulics, pneumatics, but also risk assessment, project management. So it's a very nice combination between the technological aspect and the management aspect of things. Career prospects for this program are very, very good. You will see different types of engineering positions that you can obtain, especially in the Netherlands. As you might know, a large part of the country is situated largely below sea level, meaning that we have very innovative water defense systems from preventing the country from flooding. And this is also a very important aspect that needs to be maintained throughout. So we see different students engaging either in these processes during their studies or afterwards. So in the Netherlands, you also have quite some challenging career prospects ahead of you with this program. We're coming down to the business part of things. The international business programs are very popular, and they also offer you a very broad foundation in different aspects of the international business world. You will see topics related to economics, logistics, but also marketing, sales, and even HR management. The international business program that we offer on our campus in Breda is like all the other programs, a 4-year program. They have a focus on marketing, finance, and management. The program has a structured outline, meaning that they divide every year into 4 blocks, and every block you will get different courses related to a certain topic or project. So for instance, you could have a course dedicated to investment decisions, and then or a block dedicated to investment decisions, and then the courses are related to this project. The things that you study in class, you will actually be using them to come up with a solution for a real life business case. So this is also where the practical aspect is coming in for your study program. One very nice aspect of this international business degree is that you have the opportunity to do a double degree. It means that you do the first 2 years of your study program with us in the Netherlands, and the last 2 years of your study program you can complete it in any of these partner universities mentioned below. Upon graduation, you will get a double degree, so you get 1 degree from the Dutch institution and 1 degree from the foreign institution. This gives you a very distinctive trait when you start looking for a job, of course. With this program, you have a very broad foundation. You will see a lot of different aspects of doing business internationally, and therefore it also opens up a lot of career opportunities. You will see students engaging in marketing positions, sales positions, but also accounting, finance, logistics, and HR. Um, 36% of the students, they find a job within 3 months after graduation. And one reason for this is that a lot of students already start building connections and get a sense of the type of job that they want to pursue or a type of company that they would like to work with. So the other international business program in 's is also a 4-year program, but they have a focus on marketing, communication, and sales. And what is very different from the program in Breda is that this program allows you to build your own study program or build your own individual learning path, so to say. So based on your own personal interests, you can choose from different courses and different modules to create a combination of courses that you see fit for your future plan. So this program requires you to think a bit more ahead and be aware of what it is that you want to achieve with this program, because there's no fixed layout for you to follow. Again, you also have the opportunity to do the work placement and the exchange semester. However, it's completely up to you how you do it and when you do it. Your lecturers in this program, they will support you, but they will working more or less alongside of you as a business coach, and not so much as somebody instructing you on what to do. You will see there's overlap in the topics that they cover. It's also marketing, finance, sales, personal development, and communication. But again, you have a lot more freedom to dedicate more attention to one over the other field. If you have a special interest in communication or a special interest in sales, you are free to choose more courses related to your own personal interests. So again, this program focuses on an individual profile, but you still have room, like in the other programs, to work on your skills, your communication skills, your report writing skills. These will all come by in this program as well, but it's up to you when you want to take these courses and when you want to be assessed on these skills. Because in most programs you will have a division of semesters or quarters, and after every quarter you take your exams. However, in this program you need to take exams, but they are integrated into your assessment. So you decide whenever you are ready to take the assessment, whenever you have studied the course sufficiently to be able to assess by your business coach. Here you see the career prospects for this international business program. You also see that quite a big percentage of students continues with a master program after completing this program. So this shows the similarities, but also the differences between the program. I can imagine it's a lot of information to take in all in once, but it's good to see the difference in focus and also have a clear understanding of the international business program in Breda being a bit more structured and laid out for you. So the lectures already really thought through for you what foundation needs to be built in certain fields before you can progress into more difficult fields of doing business internationally. Whereas in the international business program in 's Hertogenbosch, it's up to you how you want to form and shape your own education. In both programs, worth to mention, you have the option to study one additional language next to English. So the course will be completely taught in English, but in Den Bosch you can choose from French, German, Spanish, or Dutch, either on the beginner level or on the advanced level if you have already some prior knowledge in any of these fields. If you want, you're really into languages, you can also choose more than one. For international business in Breda, you can choose from French, German, Spanish, or Chinese. For French and German applies that you need to have some prior knowledge already. For Spanish and Chinese, you can already start on the beginner level. The final program, last but not least, is our Bachelor in Finance and Control. This is also a business program, but this program is really meant for students that are really into working with numbers and have a very strong analytical skill. You will focus on economics, finance, and accounting, but you will not only be working with numbers. It's also very important that you have very strong business skills and communication skill. In a lot of companies, the financial information is the most important information, and also the information that most people find very difficult to understand. So it's good that you are good with numbers, but it's also very important that you are able to explain and communicate about your analysis and the findings that you have based on the data that you retrieve from the financial reportings. With this program, again, in particularly in the Netherlands, you have very good career prospects. You will graduate as a finance specialist. There's a very high demand for finance specialists at the moment. And 90% of the students, they find a job at the right level right after graduation, and they have a relatively high average starting salary compared to other bachelor graduates. This has everything to do with the fact that they're in need of a lot of finance specialists right this moment. Coming down to some practical information, I can understand that some of you are just trying to figure out if studying abroad is something that could suit you. Some of you might be a little bit further ahead already with the decision making, so I try to make it not too technical, but you just mention the highlights for you. So there's a few steps that you need to take if you want to apply for a university in the Netherlands. It always starts with an online registration with StudyLink. And as soon as you have submitted your personal details about yourself and your prior education, the university of your choice will receive a notification saying that you have submitted an application. In the case of Avans, our student administration office, they will contact you and they will ask you to submit a few required documents for your application file. I will come to speak about those documents in a little while. And then you progress into your mandatory intake assessment. This is not an entry test or an exam, but this is just a matchmaking tool, I could say, for us and for you to figure out if the program that you have applied for is the right fit. So we will ask you to make a few surveys at home. You just make them digitally. And then after you've done so, we schedule a Skype intake interview with you and one of the lecturers of the program. And they will go through the results of this surveys with you. And they just want to know a little bit more about you. It's going to be an informal talk. They want to know about your motivation and what it is that you hope to achieve with the study program, and they will give you an advice saying, okay, this program is the right fit for you, or they might say, I'm not sure if this is the right fit for you, or they might even say, I don't think you should continue with this application. However, it's only a recommendation. If you are convinced that this is the right program for you, you can still continue with your application. So independent of the advice, if you proceed with your application, you will start to look into preparation such as housing, insurance, finance, and then we're already down to welcoming you for personal introduction. At Avans University, there will always be a few things that you need to arrange once you arrive into the Netherlands, such as registering at City Hall or opening a Dutch bank account if you need it. But we have the international office available that can explain to you which steps you need to take and how you need to take them. So application deadlines for students from outside the European Union are June 1st. For European students, it's August 1st. Submitting your application via StudyLink counts as an application. So you don't have to have completed your full application by this date. You can still submit your application documents after you have submitted, but you need to be in the system before this date. Of course, in the current situation with the COVID-19 virus, a lot is different from normal situation. It might be difficult for you to obtain your documents, or you might get your diploma later, and this could, of course, affect your application. So in terms of submitting your required documents, if you have trouble submitting the documents or getting them stamped or signed by your school, we are more flexible towards accepting these documents this year, but do indicate with your application when you are expecting or hoping to receive these documents, because this way the student administration has a little bit of a sense of understanding if you can still make it in time. Of course, the deadlines apply, but I could definitely recommend you, I always do, but especially in this situation, I recommend you the earlier you apply, the better. Even if you apply and you decide later on that you don't want to come or that you want to go to a different university, there are no costs involved for application, and there's also no cost involved for withdrawing your application. The start of the academic year also will be different from the normal situation, I'm afraid. Schools are working very hard on a combination of on-campus and online teaching, but a final decision is still to be determined. But there will be a frequently asked question page on our website soon where you can see latest updates on the developments in this particular situation. Um, Important, of course, housing. If you come to the Netherlands, you don't live on campus, but you live in a student house. So you have your own room for studying and sleeping, but you share facilities with a few other students. It is possible to rent accommodation via the university. However, there's always less rooms available than new incoming international students. And they're more or less allocated on a first come, first served basis. So again, the earlier you apply, the earlier you complete all the application steps, the higher likely your chances are of obtaining accommodation via the university. Fees and finance, there's also a distinction between European and non-European students, as you can see. The reason for this is that the European Union subsidizes European students studying within the European Union, but this doesn't apply to non-EU citizens. So therefore, the non-European Union students, they have to pay the actual and thus higher amount of tuition fee. Also for the European Union students applying for the first time in a full-time bachelor program in the Netherlands, in the first year you get a 50% reduction, meaning that you only pay half, but for the second, third, and fourth year you pay the full amount. You also have some indication of cost of living, what to think about for housing, insurance, groceries. Of course, depending a little bit on your lifestyle, housing can vary also. The nicer your room is, or the more centrally located, or the bigger it is, the higher the rent, of course. There are some options to get financial support from the Dutch government. This is provided by a DUO. And if you are, again, a European Union student, then you can apply for a loan. It's not the same as a scholarship. You will have to pay it back upon graduation, but the conditions are fairly nice. And if you take on a student job, you also have the option to apply for an additional student grant. You need to work 56 hours per month, but if you do so and you graduate within 10 years of starting with the study, this part of the student finance will be converted into a grant or into a gift. Of course, there's more to life than simply studying. There's a lot of things to do outside university, both in Breda and 's-Hertogenbosch. In both cities, there are other universities based as well. So they're very lively, very vibrant student cities with both Dutch and international students. So there's lots of things to do related to sports, related to parties. Unfortunately, at this very moment, the large outdoor festivals are not allowed, but we're hoping in the future that, of course, we can have these nice parties again in our student cities. As I said, I think I have been overloading you with a lot of information in a very short time. If you want to go through the different things that I've highlighted later on and have a look through the information and check out some videos, we have a very nice e-magazine where you can take another look. We will come down to our students in a little bit, but if later on you want to reach out to students studying with us, we have a very nice group of student ambassadors that have their contact details listed on the website under the student ambassador section, and they're also more than happy to share any tips or tricks or their experience with you if you need, if you want to know more about them. Again, normally we are more than more than happy to welcome you for an open day or a campus visit. Unfortunately, at this very moment, it's not possible, but if you just want to get a feel of the atmosphere, feel free to have a look at our YouTube channel. and of course some other ways to get in touch, either via email, social media, or simply the website. And I think now would be a nice time to go through some experiences from our students. So maybe Nico, I can start with you. You're in the international business program. I explained, the differences between the two programs, but how is your experience with the program in Breda? What do you like best about the study program?
Okay, so personally, I really enjoy the study program, and I'm really happy I chose it. I would say the best part of it is probably the broad range that's being taught within the IBA program. For example, if you go for something like marketing, then you will most probably just do marketing for 3 years and end up in a marketing job. So that's quite clear. But with IBA, as Notje mentioned before, you're taught marketing, there's finance, there's like service industry, supply chains. So you can really just find out what you prefer, what you like most, and and maybe find a job in the future with it. So that's, I think, my favorite part.
That's good to hear. And you're now in the first year. So far, what was like your biggest challenge within the program, also taking into account that you have been studying online for quite some time?
Yeah, so as you just mentioned, it's probably studying online. We just have online classes now. And I think apart from the online classes, it would probably be, as you mentioned before, we have groups and we have projects within the groups every couple of months or so. And you really need to, I guess it's a possibility to develop those people skills and also the intercultural, because everyone comes from different cultures and different backgrounds. So you definitely need to develop those kind of friendships in a way. And yeah, you have to just get along with everyone. But it's a good experience. So I would say
do you find it difficult to make friends?
No, not really.
Moving to a new university, new city?
Not really. I mean, not just with the international students, but also Dutch students are very like open and friendly. So it was quite easy to get to know new people. So that was good. Yeah.
Nice. And maybe Samuel, for you, like, how is your first impression for Dutch people and Dutch students so far?
The first impression is good. I have to say that Dutch people are very direct, in a good way, of course. They complain about the weather, for example. They're very direct and they're very hardworking. Let's say that the first thing that impressed me was that the school was challenging. The lessons, if you want to come to the Netherlands, if you want to study abroad, you of course want to learn, and you don't want to learn if something is not challenging, if something is easy. So as my Nico said, there are various projects during a year, and you have to work hard for them. And they're very challenging, they're very interesting. The field of research is very, very interesting. And I have no complaints since I came here and already passed a year.
That's always good to hear, of course. But why did you decide to come to the Netherlands?
I got to know about the Netherlands from a fair close to my city. I wasn't sure if I wanted to leave my country, but then I got to know that lessons can start from 8:45 until in the afternoon, but there are no more than 2 to 4 lessons a day, which is very nice because you also have time to work if you need to work to get the money if you're not the richest person in the world. Yeah, it's very, very interesting. Yeah, people are very open, as Nico said, to new friendship, and yeah.
That's good. And for you, Corona, how was it to, make the decision coming to the Netherlands? What, influenced you most to, coming over eventually?
Yeah, I knew I wanted to study in an international environment, and that was the main thing. But then looking around to environmental sciences program, I found out that the one in Breda is actually unique, and there are very few in the Netherlands. So there were multiple reasons that motivated me, and when I came here I actually found that it's better than I was expecting initially.
Yeah, that's good to hear. And what are you, of course, you're still in the first year, but what do you hope to achieve with the program? Or you already have an idea of what it is that you want to do, maybe for internships or something like that?
Yeah, what I like so far is that they really allow us to customize our future and the program itself based on our interests. So already in the third year, we are gonna go on an internship. And for example, I was already looking into marine conservation, so preserving coral reefs. I know there's many possibilities that allow you to go on the field and get to know the practical environment you're gonna work later on. But yeah, so early in the third year already.
You still have some time to decide, of course. But Alessio, maybe talking from your perspective, being graduated, having completed the full environmental science program, how was your experience with the internships and the graduation assignment? What did you do?
Well, it was a great opportunity to start working in practice and to enter the work market. The internship is, you have two internships in the asset program, environmental science, and these are 2 different years, so you can basically specialize yourself in what you like, and if you think that your second internship can be something else, you can also choose that, and that will be your final graduation internship. So it is a really good opportunity for people who like practice and who like to do projects with other people.
And you, after graduation, pursued a master. You're still studying in a master in Wageningen. What made you decide to continue with a master program?
Avans gives you applied science diploma, which is somehow equivalent to a bachelor study with more technical skills and more also practice experience. But if you like to go back to research, for instance, research university, then you need to purchase to start master study. And also you could have opportunity to continue with your PhD study in the future. And that is the way you have to take if you like research.
Do you already know what you want to do after completing the master program? You already have a plan?
I got an offer for a PhD position in Wageningen, and I am considering to start that next year.
That's great. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Maybe Laetitia, for you as well. We haven't heard you. I think I'm curious about, why did you choose the Netherlands? Why did you choose Avans to begin with?
So yeah, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Yeah, because I'm having some problems with the audio and sometimes I cannot hear you, but I will try. Yeah, I chose the Netherlands because I knew they speak English fluently and I wanted to get out of Spain to study. So I think the Netherlands is one of the best options in Europe. Also in the and I really like this way of teaching. Because in Spain, we don't have this kind of universities where you are just focused on practical. We only have like research universities, so I didn't want that, and I'm glad that this study.
And how did you find out about the opportunities that there are in the Netherlands?
So actually, I check the rankings. I'm sorry, but
okay.
Yeah, because I have no idea about what to study and where to study. So I just type on Google best environmental science universities in Europe. And then I came across Avans, and then I read the website. I really liked the website. And again, I have no idea it was a research university, but I still applied. And actually, I think for me, it's better than the research university.
Okay, that's good to hear. I think maybe if there's something from your end that you still want to add or highlight something that I missed out on or you think is important, share any tips or tricks with prospective students, feel free to join in or speak up, because otherwise I think it might be nice to move maybe to the Q&A with some of the audience might have some questions that we haven't addressed yet.
I couldn't hear what did you say last. Sorry, I don't know, my computer is blocked and I can't really hear. I don't know why.
I'm sorry, I said if any of you still has some tips or tricks to add, or otherwise we might move to the Q&A with the audience.
Yeah, we do have some questions as well, so.
Well, I can add one thing about the housing, which was mentioned in the presentation. If you're planning to come to the Netherlands, you should consider to start with looking for housing very soon, because there is a lot of people and it can take some time.
Yeah, that's a very good addition.
Yeah. And other than that, one of the best suggestions that we can give you is to search on YouTube, on Facebook, on Marketplace. Sorry. And I also subscribed to some sites of like Kamernet, for example, where you can pay like for 10 euros a month and you should be guaranteed with a house, but it's not often like this. And Facebook is really one of the best things that can eventually help you. Also to find something that is not like very expensive, because if you search on internet now from home, you can find places that cost more than 1,000 euros a month. And this is scary, but it's not always like this. There are cheaper places, as you saw in the presentation.
Perfect. I think maybe we can move on to the questions, because we do have lots of questions that actually arrived in the Q&A section. And starting with one, actually, is mainly for the students. One of the attendees is asking, has your life changed once you enter into this new world? So how studying at Avans University actually changed your world since you joined? Maybe Carola, do you want to?
Yeah, sure. I think it changed in a lot of ways, especially because moving outside your hometown is already a big step, going to university. But when you're in another country, in an international environment, it's every day something new, because you interact with people that have a totally different background. They range from the age of 17 to 26, and they maybe worked earlier or they studied other programs. So it's a constant news and interaction with different people. And also the approach that our study program has, it was totally different for me coming from the Italian school system, because as you mentioned already many times, it's really practical, and it makes you do your own research. It makes you learn through your own mistakes, and yeah, there's not always someone telling you what to do, but you have to learn on your own most of the time.
Anyone else feels like wants to add anything, maybe from a different perspective? Maybe Alessio, you've already completed the whole cycle and you're now falling into the master degree. So maybe a different point of view?
Yeah, I think it is a long way. If you're planning to move abroad, to study abroad, you also know you will have to deal with the difficulties of being abroad, far from your friends and your family, but you have a great opportunity to build a new relationships, new friendships, and with time, a new life, basically. Or you can also decide to go somewhere else at one point after you finish your studies. You have this option depending on how you will like it. But I think if you stay for the whole period and you also pursue some other studies, perhaps you will start becoming, let's say, very well adapted to this society, and you will also appreciate it more than at the beginning, perhaps.
Great. We also have actually another question about the background. So Nori, you actually tapped into the different programs you are offering, and there is one of the attendees that wants to know about the background. So what type of background do the students need to have in order to apply to those programs? I know you already discussed this, but do you also offer some sort of preparatory courses, or is there anything that they can do, for example, if they come from a language background or a different background rather than analytics?
Sorry, I had to unmute. Generally speaking, if you apply for any of these programs, you need to have a minimum level that is equivalent to a Dutch level. So as soon as you apply for a program, we will ask you to submit either your diploma from high school, or if you don't have it yet because you're still in the process of graduating, we ask you for a preliminary graduation statement asking about the details of this degree. Based on this information, we can check if your overall level is sufficient. This is the first step. For instance, for environmental science, you need to have additional requirements that you need to meet, because you need to have studied mathematics and chemistry. So this needs to show from your grades list. For industrial engineering, you need to have studied mathematics and physics. So this needs to show from your grades list again. Since this year, for international business, you will also have to study either mathematics or economics. So these are course specific requirements that you need to meet. And for all students that want to apply for an international bachelor program, and with international I mean being taught in English, but not only being taught in English, also being in an international environment with students from different cultural backgrounds, you need to submit proof of your English language proficiency. So this can either be an IELTS or a TOEFL or a Cambridge exam. There are some exemptions available based on a diploma that you might have obtained. If you have already studied in high school or in a prior program completely through English, then you can qualify for an exemption. Or there are some specific degrees. There's a list that I could share afterwards as well, where you can see if your particular degree might qualify for these exemptions. But those three things need to be in order. So the overall level, the course requirements, and your English language proficiency.
Perfect, thank you. Another question was actually more like on the application process. So you actually showed us all the steps for the application, and how early should an applicant prepare everything? You mentioned, you know, the earlier the better, but is there some sort of a time frame?
If you're still planning on applying for this year, so starting in September 2020, the deadlines apply, of course, June 1st, August 1st. But if you're thinking of starting this year, I would say start with the application as soon as possible. If you're planning for next year, then the application opens in November 2020. So November 2020 is the earliest time that you can apply for September 2021. This is very, very early. Most students, if they apply around January, then you're still considered very early, and then you have plenty of time to complete all the steps. So anything between, I would say, January and May for European students is a perfect time to complete all the steps without any stress.
Oh, thank you so much. And then there is actually another question about like the benefit of actually studying abroad. So I know we already discussed these more into details, but maybe Samuela, do you want to tell us just generally what you think is the best benefit that you encountered so far studying in the Netherlands?
Can you repeat the questions?
Yes, what will be the best benefit that you, let's say, face it so far, like by studying abroad? There are many, maybe.
Yeah, I love the life here. It's my first time living alone, so I had to face some difficulties from finding an apartment and such. But after settling down, starting with the school was very easy. I was lucky and I found an apartment very, very close to the school. So I'm lucky enough to go to school by skate every day. This is possible just because the Netherlands is mostly flat. It can be seen as a bad thing, but in this kind of view, is a very nice and positive thing. And the life around Breda, it's very nice. There are a lot of pubs, there are a lot of parks, there are a lot of public places where you can just go there, and there are a lot of people that are really willing to be new friends for you. I really got new friends that I wouldn't even think it was possible. That many friends. So yeah, it's very, very nice. And that's one of the best things I can say about the Netherlands.
Does any of you other guys feels like sharing maybe some other benefit, something that we haven't maybe said so far?
I can say that. Oh, sorry. Yeah, I can say that the Netherlands is a very international country. So you have a lot of people from different nationalities, also outside of the university itself. So that is very interesting to live with this and to see how people integrated in the Netherlands and to share experience with them, perhaps to learn something more.
Leticia, you also wanted, yeah.
Yeah, for me, it's a way like traveling, but without moving, because we have all our friends, they are all around the world. So we always have conversations and we compare our cultures. And it's a way of learning from other cultures, which are far, but in the same, only in one place. So it's pretty nice. I really like that.
Thank you. We actually have a question from Eleonora who's asking, how important is the ability to adapt to this new lifestyle? Is it easy or not? So she's coming from an Italian school system. So maybe Nico, you can answer Eleonora, how easy was or not easy to adapt?
Okay, so I should probably mention beforehand that I went to a Spanish high school, but nevertheless, I also attended an Italian high school, so that I know a little bit of how it works. I have to say, it really isn't hard to get adapted with the life, because it's just, personally, I just think it's very good. So it wasn't hard for me, but I mean, I don't really see a problem with not adapting, because as it was said, Dutch people are very open, and if you do need help with anything, you could either go to a coach or, you know, to your friends, or yeah, it should be really easy to get to like it. I really don't know anyone that that regrets their decision. So it should be easy.
Perfect. Actually, another question, maybe Nori, you can help. We tapped in a little bit into more like perspective, like job and the career service. Maybe you want to say a little bit more how it works, like all the internship was a very interesting part where you mentioned all the companies that you partnered with.
Yeah, so it depends a little bit, of course, on the field of study that you choose, but the course is designed together with companies from the field. So whenever courses are being developed, the university is talking with different companies, both nationally and internationally, about what it is that they need from students and graduates in order to help progress and grow their company. So this is why you get a lot of real life examples and case studies into the study programs, being able to understand of what is going on in the field already, and also trying to develop skills that are required for those companies. This is the integrated part that you have while studying and doing the projects. But if you are at the point where you go for work placement or for your graduation internship even, it's up to you what kind of company or what kind of position you want to proceed. So of course we train students to write a good cover letter and to do a good job interview and to know how to present themselves and find attractive positions, but it's actually how it's going to be in real life. You will need to apply for it, and you will actually need to perform and obtain this position yourself. And this helps students also preparing for, you know, the real job field. When they start applying for jobs, they learn how to do it, they build connections, they have worked for different companies, so they can put actual experience on their resumes when they leave university, and they have a good understanding of what it is that they want to do. And I think this is the biggest advantage already, because you have seen different things and you have experienced what you're good at and what you like and what you want. And I think this is the first step in making, you know, the first good choices on your career path.
Thank you so much. We actually have another question, which is more for the scholarship. So like, are there any scholarships available for these courses?
Unfortunately, the university doesn't offer any scholarships at this moment. There is a support system that is called a Dutch Grant Finder. This is an overview of all the grants and scholarships that are available in the Netherlands, and those apply to certain specific cases or conditions that you need to meet, but it might be suiting for any of the attendees, so it's worth looking into it. So these scholarships are available for Dutch, for students wanting to study in a Dutch institution, not necessarily at Avans only. Another option that sometimes is available from your own home country, offered by your own government to engage students in studying abroad and broadening their scope, and hopefully with the idea of coming back to your home country and bringing that knowledge into your own country system, ecosystem. So unfortunately, there's no easy answer to it, saying yes, we have scholarships available, but there are some creative ways to work around it. And of course, don't forget about the student finance that you can apply for. It's not a gift, it's a loan, but it can definitely give you some financial space if you need.
Perfect. Thank you so much. We still actually have time for like one last question, and is as for one of the attendees that is asking to explain a little bit more like the international element into the bachelor. We discussed about the different path and exchanges program. Maybe if we just want to remind one more about all of these international elements.
Yeah. Well, maybe I can give some general description about it, and students can help me out or share their experiences so far. But next to being into an international classroom with students and lecturers from different parts of the world, working on multidisciplinary projects, so not looking into only different fields, but also different angles from also a cultural perspective, learning how to work together with people from cultural backgrounds. You do have the opportunity to broaden your scope. So you come to the Netherlands, this is your first you know, new international experience, moving here, different culture, different customs, different way of, you know, doing everything. But in most programs in the second, third, and fourth year, there's also an option to leave the university for either the work placements that have been mentioned, but you can do them anywhere in the world. If you have an interest in, I don't know, working in Canada, Australia, or whichever country you can think of, you know, if you find a suitable position at a suitable company, you're allowed to spend your work placement there. The same goes for the exchange semester. This means that you leave the university again, not to work, but to go on an exchange. So you study at a partner university for a semester. We have 250 partners all around the world in 50 different countries. And here again, you will be immersing yourself in a new culture, in a new country, adapting to new and challenging situations. So this really gives you, I think, the tools for life to become very globally oriented, but also very adaptive to new and maybe sometimes even unforeseen situations, making you very resilient, I think, in life in general.
Thank you so much. Maybe one of you guys want to add on into these international elements, which will be, I think, very useful for our participants.
That I'm planning to do my internship in New Zealand. I've been talking to my coach, and he said that it will be very not so challenging to do that, not very hard. So yeah, that could be an option. I'm still not sure, but the availability is basically everywhere. If you find a place that is on your field of research, then you can work on there and make a good internship.
Thank you, Samuele. Thank you so much. Well, unfortunately, the time is up. So I'd like to thank you all for participating to this webinar. And I'd like to thank Nori and all of you guys for sharing your valuable experience. At the end of this webinar, you will all receive all the information about Avans University of Applied Science, and I'm sure Nori and the team will be available for you to answer all the questions you might have. So once again, I'd like to thank you all, and looking forward to seeing you at the next webinar of Avans University of Applied Science. Thank you. Have a good evening, everyone. Bye.
Thank you, guys. Bye. Have a nice evening.